You didn't really do anything wrong. You didn't hurt anyone on purpose. You didn't break a serious promise. And yet, the moment you feel that you might have inconvenienced someone, your chest becomes heavy. You start thinking, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. This is my fault. You are deeply afraid of disappointing people, afraid of hurting them, afraid of not meeting their expectations. When that fear appears, something inside you goes into motion. Your thoughts speed up. Your emotions become heavier. It becomes hard to breathe freely. Most people explain this by saying, I'm just weak. I'm too sensitive. There's something wrong with my personality. But what if that explanation is wrong? Today, I want to introduce a Japanese book by psychiatrist Manabu Saito. Everything you feel guilty about is unnecessary. This book does not treat guilt as a moral virtue. It does not praise guilt as proof of kindness or responsibility. Instead, it asks a different question. What if guilt often works as a form of self-punishment, quietly controlling your life? Today, we'll look at why guilt becomes so heavy, how it shapes your relationships and life patterns, and what you can realistically do to loosen its grip. This is not about becoming cold or selfish. It's about slowly returning to your own life. Guilt rarely starts as a clear thought. It usually appears first in the body. A tight chest, a heavy stomach, restlessness, shallow breathing. Only after that does your mind step in and say, you must have done something wrong. Here's an important distinction the book makes. There is healthy guilt. If you truly hurt someone, you take responsibility. You apologize. You repair what you can. And then you move on. But many people suffer from a different kind of guilt. Guilt that appears even when nothing serious actually happened. Guilt that is out of proportion to reality. You didn't do something terrible. You just didn't meet someone's expectation perfectly. You just took up a bit of space. And yet the guilt feels enormous. This kind of guilt does not come from facts. It comes from habit. It is not reflection. It is self-punishment. The first step is not to erase guilt. It is to name it. Ask yourself, is this about real responsibility? Or is this a familiar emotional reflex? That question alone changes the weight. According to Saito, strong guilt is supported by two internal systems. The first is a prison made of shoulds. You should be considerate. You should not inconvenience others. You should meet expectations. You should be a good person. The more shoulds you carry, the more your daily life turns into a courtroom. Every decision is evaluated. Every emotion is judged. The second system is fear. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being excluded. Fear of being left behind. When this fear is strong, people choose safety behaviors. They suppress what they want to say. They anticipate others' needs. They erase their own desires. In the short term, this creates peace. In the long term, it creates a quiet loss of self. This is why guilt does not mean you are moral. Often, it means you are afraid of losing connection. Inside this structure lives an inner police. The inner police constantly monitors you. That's selfish. Don't disappoint them. They might not like you. Be better. This inner police may have once protected you. Maybe fitting in was necessary. Maybe conflict was dangerous. But now, the police never go off duty. And the standard they enforce is not truth, but imagined reactions of others. That's why guilt grows so easily. People with strong guilt are often very good at maintaining relationships. They are reliable, kind, responsible. But something is missing. Their true feelings, their anger, their wishes. Those parts are pushed outside the relationship. So a strange loneliness appears. You are surrounded by people, yet you feel unseen. This loneliness is not a personal failure. It is the cost of relationships built on self-erasure. Over time, this loneliness looks for relief. In work, in roles, in approval, in perfection. These are not moral weaknesses. They are coping strategies. And when the inner script does not change, life tends to repeat similar kinds of suffering. Same relationship problems, same exhaustion, Same disappointment. Saito's key insight is this: repeated unhappiness is often not bad luck. It is the same internal rules producing the same outcomes. Change the rules, and the pattern can change. People dominated by guilt usually struggle with anger. Anger feels dangerous. It might hurt others. It might break relationships. So anger is denied. But anger is not inherently violent. At its core, anger protects boundaries. This is not okay. That hurts. I matter too. When anger is suppressed, it does not disappear. It changes form. It becomes resentment, self-criticism, emotional heaviness, chronic guilt. Very often, guilt is anger turned inward. Sometimes this structure comes from early relationships, not necessarily abuse, sometimes just conditional approval. You learned that being good meant being loved. Those voices become internalized. They sound like your own thoughts now. Understanding this is not about blaming parents. It's about freeing your present self. Now, let's talk about what you can actually do. First, change how you interpret guilt. Guilt is not a verdict. It is an alarm. When it appears, say internally, the inner police is reacting. No argument, no suppression, just recognition. Second, separate responsibility from self-punishment. If there is real harm, take action and stop there. No endless self-attack. If it is self-punishment, ask a different question. What am I afraid of right now? Usually, the answer is not moral failure. It is fear of evaluation. Third, reclaim a very small piece of territory. Fulfill one small personal desire. No permission, no justification. Something harmless but meaningful. Say no once. Delay a response. Take time for yourself. The guilt will spike. That's expected. But if you stay, the inner police learns something important. The world does not collapse. Finally, this is crucial. This is not about rejecting approval. Wanting to be liked is human. The problem begins when approval controls your life. Do not let others' evaluations define your values. Build your own value system. At night, ask quietly, what did I do today for approval? What did I do today because it mattered to me? Slowly, your compass shifts. Let's summarize. Guilt is not always truth. Often, it is a learned self-punishment driven by fear. Unchecked guilt creates loneliness, repetition, and exhaustion. Suppressed anger feeds it. The solution is not to destroy guilt, but to recognize it as an alarm, separate facts from fear, and reclaim small parts of your life. Inside you is an inner police. It wants to protect you. But you don't have to obey every siren. Stop letting others' evaluations steer your life. Create your own values. Today, fulfill one small desire of your own. You may be surprised how quietly the world continues to turn. And in that quiet, your life slowly returns to you.